Let me know once it's done. Looks like I am. Am I live? Am I live? I'm waiting. It's live? Are you sure? Okay, good. All right, thank you. All right. Hi, good evening, good morning. All of you, can you confirm if the audio video is all right? Maybe on the chat box. Okay. All right. So before we start the session, can each one of you type in the date of your exam and also which city you're writing this exam in, so that we get some sort of a flavor of the audience that we have here. Okay, I can see we have 20th. 20th means about 4 days from today. A lot of Pune candidates. We have some Mumbai. I can see Kolkata, Bengaluru, 20th, 17th, Noida, Surat, Chandigarh, Chennai, plenty of Pune again, Bengaluru, all right, Chandigarh, Hyderabad. Fine, good. So this, I think we'll start the session. Here's how the session is going to flow. We also have some people attending this session on Zoom panel of FinTree. We also have certain candidates who are attending session live on YouTube. I will talk for 10 minutes. I'll just discuss general framework and mindset of what to do in the last 2 days, 3 days maybe for some of you. What to do, and more importantly, what not to do. And then in the last 15-20 minutes of the session, then I will take your queries, right? Whatever doubts you have in your mind, you can ask me. So with this, I will start the session. I have been teaching today since morning, so my apologies if energy level looks a little low. But since your exams are fairly close, I thought it was important to do this session today itself. All right, so let's start making some of the list of what to do and what not to do for last, let's say 2 to 3 days, right? For some people maybe it's just last day, and that's all right. And then we'll also have certain tips on what to do on the exam day, right? Now, at this stage, most of you have taken a few mocks. That's an assumption. I'm also assuming that you've spent some time on revising and going through the material reasonably well, right? Fair assumption. So now, what would I do if I were to take exams in last 2-3 days? Number one, now my entire focus would be on revision or review rather than learning new material. Okay, so if you're in the last 2-3 days, I don't think you should be starting a new topic now. So let's assume that about 60 or 70 learning, how many learning modules in L1? 90 learning modules in L1, right? Let's assume that there were 2 of them or 3 of them that you don't know well, or 2-3 of them that you've not studied well. Should I do them now? No, right? This is not the time for us to learn new material. So now the time is to consolidate everything that you've learned so far and put that into one single basket. Now, how would you do it? I have a few ideas for you. One, if you have access to juice notes, I think that's going to be your Bible now. So you want to keep on revising through juice notes as many times as you can. If you can, also identify the areas that you feel you're not very comfortable with, right? That also you can do. Second, you can also consider going through crash course of topics that you feel a little less confident with. For example, let's say you're struggling with fixed income, you're struggling with quant, you're struggling with FRA. I'm just an example. It could be something else. Maybe for these 2-3 subjects, you can go through crash course videos one more time. Right? That's a general thought process. Second, we have recently published a new formula sheet for you. I think last time when we had the conversation, some of you are requesting for a formula sheet. So now we have that available. Now would be a good idea to go through that formula sheet multiple times, right? So that's another fantastic way to revise. Third thing, and this worked out quite well for me, is if you can also, when you're revising, why don't you try doing something called as an active revision? Okay. So what is an active revision? Let me show you how you can do it. It will probably take you a day to do this. So if you go and search for something like this, right? Let's say CFA level 1 2025 LOS list or learning outcome statement. Let me also add PDF to it. Okay. So CFA Institute has this thing called topic outlines. Okay. Now in this topic outlines, what you would see is, you would see that entire list of command words are printed. Okay. Or entire list of learning outcome statements are printed. So one way to revise is to revise it like this. Take this list. Let me take a screenshot of this for ourselves. Okay. Read this. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I'm going to take this particular learning outcome statement, and then it says compare M money weighted rate of return and time weighted rate of return. Evaluate performance of portfolio. So the moment they say evaluate, that means I have to do some calculations. So I will read this. I will not look at the solution, and then I will ask myself, hey, do I know what this means? Right? For example, do you remember what money weighted rate of return means? Yeah. So what is this? What is this number? This number is nothing but your IRR, right? Do you remember what time weighted rate of return means? Anyone? Come on, our exam is in 2 days. Does anyone remember what time weighted rate of return means? Tell me, how do you calculate this? You calculate a geometric mean of holding period returns, right? Now, if you're able to think like this, what I just told you, that means you remember it well. So you don't need to revise this, you move on to next learning outcome. But if you feel, hey, I'm not very confident, I kind of forgotten what this concept is, then only for this learning outcome statement, I will open juice notes. I will see what was presented there. And maybe this one, I will give it, a couple of stars and then move on to next one. And then tomorrow I will do similar type of revision, but now I will focus only on the ones I highlighted today, right? So the ones that I could not remember, I will see if I can revise them. This is called active revision. This is different than you browsing through the juice notes, right? When you're browsing through juice notes or any of the revision material, you're not doing it actively. You're just reading what's there. But when you're reading a learning outcome list, you're forced to think of what was the content of that material. So spend some time on revising through this particular format. It generally works out well. What else can you do? If you have time, you can also consider a review of questions that were wrong, or that were questions where you made a mistake. Questions where you made mistakes when you're practicing mocks. Now, assuming you've done 3 mocks, 5 mocks, 10 mocks, whatever number of mocks, right? Now, some questions you did right, some went wrong. If you're using FinTree ecosystem, you anyways can easily find out through that graphical dashboard, right? So all that you need to do is go and look at the questions where you made a mistake and then see if you can solve them now, so that you're focusing your efforts on areas that you're not comfortable with. So this is roughly how you can do. What you should not do, as I told you, is no new topics. What you should not also do is compare, and a lot of candidates are doing it. My WhatsApp is flooded with messages. Compare your mock exam results with others. Are you doing this? I've scored this much, my friends are scoring this much, so maybe I'm not doing good, maybe I'm doing better. Do not do that. I don't think that really makes a big difference. The fact that you've taken the mocks, and I'm hoping that you've taken 3, 4, 5 of them, I think you're in a very fairly comfortable state, right? So that's the general framework of what you want to do in the last 2, 3 days. I will also throw in that maybe it's also time for you to spend at least a few hours on ethics. Generally, ethics, a good time to do it is a day before the exam. Okay, so maybe day before the exam in the afternoon, you can spend 2, 3 hours in practicing some questions on ethics and going through the material. So that's the general framework. Now, what to do on the exam day, right? So number one, very important is mindset. Now, in last 15 years or 14 years of teaching, I've seen many times that candidates are really well prepared. बहुत अच्छे से आता है material, they've practiced enough. But somehow some people tend to panic a lot, right? And there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of panic. So when you enter the exam hall, you end up wasting first 30, 40 minutes because your body is full of those hormones, right? And you're scared, there's a lot of fear that's coming in. Maybe fear can come because it's expensive or a variety of reasons. So what was my mindset? Before the exam, my mindset used to be that this CFA exam that I'm writing, that's the entire world for me. Nothing else matters. Which means morning, evening, day, night, the only thing that I care about is preparing for my exams. But then during the exam, when I leave my house, okay, and now I'm going towards the exam center, I would constantly be talking to myself that I am excited about it and I'm going to have fun. So I am, and you can repeat this with me if you like, I am excited and I am going to have fun. Now, when you say this to yourself, it will feel like it's a lie. It is a lie, isn't it? अंदर से पता है कि हमारी फट रही है ना? But the thing with lies, if you lie to yourself a lot of times, you start believing in it, right? So the moment you leave the house till your exam center, your self-talk is going to be that, hey, I'm really excited. I'm going to have fun. Similar to maybe you're going for a sporting event or you're playing a match yourself, right? What this does is, if you repeat this enough number of times and you start believing in it, suddenly the body starts releasing different category of hormones, and that will help you cool down and reduce your anxiety a little bit, right? So keep this in mind. Keep on repeating this to yourself that I'm excited about this. I'm going to have a lot of fun during the exam. That's a general mindset. Second, if you start the paper and if you find there are some questions that you find that they're very challenging, right? Super tough, you're not able to answer the question. Then what will happen? So imagine I start the question paper and the first 5 questions were, right, complete bouncer. I have no idea what those questions were about, or I'm not confident. Then I will tell myself that I have prepared well. I have spent 6 months, 1 year in preparing for the exam. So it's not that I am a complete idiot. I have some idea of the curriculum. If I am finding this difficult, then it's difficult for everyone else. And at the end of the day, if you just think that almost every second guy who's taking the exam is going to pass, right? Your historical passing rates have been in the range of 40 to 50%, somewhere in that ballpark. Now, let's assume 100 people are writing the exam. In my experience, there will be 10 candidates who are writing the exam because they're forced to write. Why forced to write? They signed up for the exam, they did not study, so they paid deferral. But we know that deferral is available only once, which means the second time again, I don't have deferral available. So now I might as well go and take the exam because paise de diye, I've already paid the fees, right? So there are only 90 candidates, which in my opinion are serious competition. Now, out of 90, historically, the passing rates have been roughly about 45-ish, which means what percentage? 50%. Now, 50% according to me is a very, very high passing rate, right? Compare this with CA exams. CA exam, what's the passing rate? 5%. Like when I took the exam, passing rate used to be 1 or 2%, right? So 45-50% is a really high passing rate, which means every second candidate is going to pass. So you don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. You just need to be the smarter than the person sitting next to you. As long as that's not a FinTree candidate, you're okay. Which means the passing rates are good. If you find questions difficult, it's okay. Difficult for you, difficult for everyone else. What will I do in that case? I'll keep on moving, keep on solving questions. Third is your time management. Okay, now there's something very important here, so listen to this carefully. I've done some studies on how to design exams, right? When we design some mock exams or other questions, there's a lot of literature available. It's a body of study for question writers and exam setters on how to set up exam. Now, in any exam, there will always be some questions which will consume disproportionate amount of time. Okay. Now, I call these questions as the questions that are going to hurt your ego. What do I mean by this? Let's assume there is a con question, maybe on some sort of a test statistic calculation. Okay. Now, you know how to do it. You have done multiple times in your mocks and in your practice session. But on the day of exam, the answer that you're getting on the calculator is not matching with the 3 options given. Okay. Now, in situation like these, what do? You feel like I know it. I'm closer. Maybe I made a mistake in steps. So what will you do? Do it again, right? And if you do it again and maybe answer doesn't match, then you do it again. In that process, you end up spending too much of time, correct? So you want to be very mindful of questions like these. Do not let your ego come into the game. It's very simple. You try to solve a question, your answer matches, fantastic. Okay, but in case if it doesn't match, then what do you need to do? There's a simple option called flag. So even on the exam, similar to FinTree portal, you're allowed to flag the questions. So just simply flag the question and also select one of the 3 options that you feel is closest to the correct answer. Because what if you flag and don't select and then eventually you run short of time? So for the timing, if you feel C is the closest, select C, move on, finish your paper, and then if you're left with time, then go back and review all the flagged questions. Is that okay? Now, in my experience, time management generally at level 1 is not an issue, is if you've practiced reasonably well. So I would not obsess too much about not being able to finish on time. I think most of you would be able to finish. Then a lot of people are asking me questions on sequence. Okay, so sequence is, should I start at the beginning of the paper, or should I start in the middle, or should I start towards the end? What do you think you should do? Doesn't matter, right? Why? Because your questions are anyway scrambled. That means the questions will be mixed across the subjects. I think you have 5 subjects in the AM, 5 subjects in the second half of the paper. So just start with question number 1 and go in sequentially. You don't need to kind of reinvent the wheel or do anything new. 5th, reach your exam hall or exam center on time. Imagine 6 months, 1 year of hard work, and on that day for some reason you got up late, or something happened, maybe your Uber did not arrive on time. Variety of things can go wrong. So keep a buffer of 30 minutes to 1 hour, especially in India, because we know at any point of time anything can go wrong, right? So make sure you're reaching exam center at least 60 to 90 minutes before your exam is supposed to start. The best case scenario, not to rely on Uber. If you have your own transportation, if someone is willing to drive you, even better. So plan for those things in advance. What to take during the exam hall? First, you have to take your calculator. Texas Instruments, BA2 calculators. Other category of calculators are not allowed. Only 2 models. There's one model from HP, one model from Texas Instrument, only these two options, right? So make sure you take the right calculator. If your calculator has any stickers apart from the original Texas sticker, if you have put in some cute stickers on top of it, or you've written some formulas, please remove them. Okay, I'm telling you this on experience because I've seen all these different weird cases over a period of time. Second, make sure you're taking your passport with you. I say this like 1,000 times for every exam. And even then, on every exam, we at least end up having one candidate who reached exam hall but forgot to carry passport. Even last exam, we had a candidate like that. He was rushed for whatever reason. He reached exam hall a little late, I think 8:30ish or something like that, 9 o'clock exam. After reaching the exam hall, he realized I don't have a passport. He was preparing for 1 year. Then he called his wife and he said, hey, can you get my passport? It took wife about an hour to reach to the exam hall. By the time it was 9:40, 9:45, something like that, he was denied the entry. Right, so he could not take any of the two, not AM, not PM. He could not take both the sets, which means money is wasted, 1 year of effort is wasted, right? Such a simple thing. Make sure you're not messing up here, right? You have to take your calculator, you have to take your passport. If you want to change batteries of your calculator, do it now. Generally, those batteries will last for years and years, so you don't have to worry. If you bought your calculator recently in last 1 year, I don't think you need to worry about replacing batteries. If you think that's going to be in your mind, get it done today or tomorrow. It's a very simple process. Just go to any of the local watch repair shops. They will have those small batteries. They can get them replaced for you. Third, you get an optional 30-minute break between the two parts. Now, what I've heard from candidates is that, especially in Pune, the time from your exam hall to going out and getting a cup of coffee is not sufficient because the distance is very large. So which basically means, for all practical purpose, you just get out of that room, you'd get your 20-30 minute break, then you'd go back in. So if you want to carry some food, if you want to carry some coffee, plan for it in advance, right? So because you will not be able to find anything else there. So that's your general checklist. I think if you need to carry some meds with you, if you need something, just mindful of that, and that's it. Apart from that, everything is okay. And one more tip, I completely forgot. Fifth, and this is interesting, there is another thing that happens, and I've heard this happening in India quite a bit, which is excessively cooled rooms or air conditioning. Now in India, we have those split air conditionings, right? We do not have, many of these classrooms will not have centralized AC. Now what happens is, imagine if you happen to, if they allocate a seat to you, which is right below that split air conditioning unit, then the air is constantly blowing on your head, right? And it can get a little annoying. So you do not want those unnecessary distractions. So maybe if I were you, I'll figure out if I can carry some sort of a hoodie with me, right? So in case if I need, I can just cover my head and then focus on the exams. So these are some general tips from experience. And finally, I think most importantly, again, coming back to mindset, is have some belief in yourself. You've put in a lot of time, you've put in the efforts. So just know that it's going to work out, and keep on telling yourself that I will pass, right? I pass, and that's it. That's roughly the tips that I have for you. I'm done talking. If you have any questions for me, now would be a great time. I will start with participants who are attending the meeting on Zoom, and then we'll go to YouTube. I would prefer you rather speak. So just raise your hand and I will try and unmute you. Or you can unmute yourself now. So, right. So just unmute yourself and you should be able to talk directly.
Hi, sir. Can I go?
Yes, sure. Just introduce yourself when you start.
Yes, sir. My name is Vishwesh.
Yes, Vishwesh.
I have given 7 FinTree mocks and 1 CFA mock. Scoring decent in FinTree mocks. So it went from 60s to 86 towards the last mock. But when I gave my CFA ka first mock, I dropped to 74, and that has been constantly bothering me since yesterday. I don't know what to do for this.
How much was the score in FinTree mock, you said?
For first two mocks, I opened 60 and
Just
62.
give me an average.
5, 6, and 7 were in 80s.
80s. Okay. And CFA mock, how much?
74.
That's fine. I think you're scoring in the top quartile right now, based on my understanding. I think it's a pretty good score. See, 5-6% here and there is going to okay. The way we've designed FinTree mocks is we've total 7 mocks at the moment. Mock number 1 we've kept extremely difficult. Mock number 2 difficult but little less than mock number 1. So it's gradual decay. The idea is that by the time you reach 6th or 7th mock, the level of difficulty is similar to what you might see on the exams. Now, no one really knows, right? But that's our best case of how the level of difficulty will be. So if you're scoring in 70s and 80s, I think that's a fantastic score. There's no reason for you to worry.
Also, sir, you mentioned do ethics one day before. So,
Mhm.
what would be the most optimum use of doing ethics? Is it from juice notes or LES or mock reviews, which I went wrong in? What is it the ideal way?
I think I would be more comfortable doing revising ethics through juice notes. Juice notes, how many pages can you check? We have about 15 to 20 pages of ethics, right? About 20 pages of ethics, so should take you a couple of hours. And then maybe I'll spend 1 hour in practicing curriculum end of the chapter questions, whatever I can practice. That's it.
LES?
I mean, LES or curriculum EOC. I like EOCs more. End of the chapter questions. I think they're fairly comprehensive and they cover a variety of different questions.
Okay. And so on the exam day, if I get consequently 4 or 5 questions which are tough,
Mhm.
how to handle the temperament there? Because then if it's like a house of cards that falls, and then every question that even if I know it, I will still feel that I don't know this. I'll be second guessing myself.
See now and let's think of a bigger picture, right? Vishwas, imagine you pass your CFA exam, someday you become a fund manager, and you buy a few stocks and suddenly market crashes by 30-40%. Does that mean you're not a good stock picker? See, things like these will always happen. Uh, at least I'll tell you what my mindset was, right? Always. If I'm confident about the level of efforts I've put in, now you're scoring fantastically well with 70-80% score on the mock. If I'm finding some question difficult, despite so much of practice, then I'm pretty sure other candidates who are taking the exam is also finding it difficult. So it's a level playing field, and that should be all right, right? So just keep your cool. Have a mindset as if you're playing on the exam, right? Don't take it too seriously when you enter the exam hall. Don't have a mindset that what if I don't pass? It's the end of the world. I have to pass. Don't think like that. Think that I want to enjoy this experience. I've paid a lot of money. I've put in a lot of efforts, right? I've prepared for this day. So today is my day. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to truly and honestly enjoy the experience and believe in this thing. The moment you do it, automatically anxiety goes away and then you start having fun with the questions. And I remember my level 1 experience. I don't know, I never told you my story. I What happened for my level 1 exams, I was supposed to write my exams in Mumbai. So I think a week before my exams, one of my friends, she called me and she told me my roommate wants to talk to you. So I was like, sure, batao kya hai. So our roommate called. I did not know that the roommate was a reporter working with Economic Times. Okay, so she called me and she said, what is your view on CFA exams cancelled in India? I was like, what? Because I had no idea that exams were cancelled. Um, and funnily, she actually printed that in Economic Times. She was like, there was this guy called Utkarsh who did not even know that exams are cancelled. I was not checking my emails, I was studying. So then CFA Institute, I checked their email. They had some legal issues in India. Uh, so they basically said, hey, we have to cancel the exam for legal reasons. So you have two options. A, don't show up for the exam, we'll refund you the money, full money, exam fee as well as the registration fee. Or B, go to any location outside India of your choice, and we'll give you some $300-400, some amount. I don't remember, but it used to be, for me, it was a big amount then. Now, imagine if that option were to be given to you today, right? Don't write your exam, just take your money back. It sounds like it's a good option, right? It feels like I should take it. But somehow, I think I remember very well, my motivation that time was that, hey, let me go outside India, at least घूमने फिरने मिल जाएगा, right? I can travel a little bit. But back in the day, it was okay to write CFA exams without a passport. Passport was not required. Any ID card would work, I think voter's card or something like that. So I didn't have a passport, so I could not go outside India except in Nepal, right? So I decided I'll go to Nepal. I took a flight from Pune to Delhi. When I reached Delhi airport, now these guys are not letting me go into international airport because I don't have a passport. So now I'm trying to convince those police guys there. I said, sir, I have an exam, and for Nepal, you don't need a passport. So now those guys go and talk to airline people, and then they come and tell me that, yes, you're correct. Nepal doesn't need a passport if you're not flying. If you want to fly, you have to have a passport. At least that was the rule back in the day. So now I'm 2 days away from the exam in Delhi alone. And now in a couple of days, I have exam in Nepal. So from there, I went to some railway station. I forgot what name. I bought a general class ticket. I think Gorakhpur Express. So from Delhi to Gorakhpur, Gorakhdam Express. Delhi to Gorakhpur, which is Nepal border. Then Sunoli, then you have to do a tanga or the sharing rickshaw, cross the border, take overnight bus, and then reach Kathmandu. So I was already very exhausted. I could not study in the last 2-3 days. But when I was walking into the exam hall, I told myself that it doesn't matter. I've worked hard. I've put in the efforts in the past. Now that I've reached here, I'm just going to have fun. It used to be a 6-hour paper back in the day, 9 to 12, 2 to 5. And I remember I went in and I saw the first question, I knew the answer. Okay. And that gave a little bit of confidence booster. And then after that, I just kept on enjoying the whole experience of solving the paper. Because that anxiety will last for 5 minutes at tops, right? And I've experienced this multiple times. I mean, if you've done some adventure activity, right? I think few years ago, I did that. क्या कहते हो plane से jump करने में? Skydiving. I didn't want to do it. I was quite scared. मैं काफी फट रही थी. But then I was with some people. They wanted to do it, so I was like, okay, fine. So it was very scary till the time you don't jump. But the moment you jump, it doesn't feel that scary. So same stuff with you, right? Till the time you're walking to the exam hall, it's going to feel like it's too much. But the moment you're inside there, it's not. It's going to be very okay. Just keep your calm, enjoy the experience. That's it.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Sir, can I go?
Sure. Just introduce yourself. Who's Samudra, right?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Samudra
Yes.
here. Sir, so my question is similar to Vishwesh's, but so the thing is with me, my FinTree mocks 7 and 6 were around 75, 79 range. And my first CFAI mock was around 62%. So I'm a little, confused and worried. Am I in the green or am I like, yeah. So if you could please advise.
Samudra, see, no one knows. And I don't want to comment on a cutoff score because if I do, I'm pretty sure there are some candidates who very well prepared, but for some reason mock scores are not good. See, your mock scores are also a function of when you take the mock. If you take the mock 2 months before the exam, score will automatically be lower. So there's no concept of cutoff score or anything like that. I think if you're scoring more than, let's say, a reasonable 55 plus percentage on mocks consistently, you're comfortable. Back yourself a little bit. No, have belief in yourself. Isn't that true for everything else in life, right? I mean, you guys would be doing a lot of things, right? You would be starting funds. You would be taking risky bets. If you don't back yourself and if you don't believe in yourself, how would you do it? So just just believe that you've put in enough efforts, and I know you have, right? Because I've seen a lot of you over a period of last 6 months, a year. So have that belief, know that it's going to happen. Just go and enjoy the experience. You're doing good, by the way. Your scores are good, so don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Yes, who wants to go next?
Hello, sir. My name is Anish.
Hi, Anish. Yes.
Yeah, sir. I'm now struggling with the economics for that dollarization, CBS, or like the question on that, like if interest rate goes up in domestic currency country, then what will happen? Like I'm not able to answer that.
Okay. Now,
So what should I do?
very simple. Each one of you have your weak areas right now. I don't think I've come across a candidate ever who would come and tell me that you asked me question from any part of the syllabus I know. All of us have our weak areas, right? For me, I think the weak areas used to be maybe somewhere around ethics. I never felt confident with answering ethics questions. For you, it's economics today. आपका क्या है? Ethics है. आपका क्या है? Derivatives. Everyone has weak areas. All of us get questions in some part wrong. Now, what is the weight of economics? So let's say about 10%, right? So how many questions are you looking at? Roughly about 10, 15, 20, let's say 18 questions. Now, out of 18, do you think all 18 will come on this topic? No. How many questions? Maybe 1, 2 at tops. And even in those 2 questions, you still have 33% probability of getting them right. How?
Sir, तुक्का
Because
कैसे
you have
मारूं?
only
आप
3
थोड़ा
options. I don't know. तो कोई भी जय माता दी option A. So it's okay. I think you don't need to obsess about it. Just let it go. Just forget it. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe that topic doesn't show up. It happens. It happened to me in level 2. I can't tell you the topic. There's one topic I really hated. There were like cluster of 2 chapters I really hated. I read them once. I did not understand what they were talking about. And level 2 is all the more risk. I was hoping that they didn't show up, and they didn't show up. Good, I got lucky. I passed, right? I'm sitting here. So it's all right. I mean, 1 or 2 topics, just let them go. Everyone has this
And
weak
sir,
areas.
okay, and like I'm looking for that 98 percentile. So what will be your advice for me?
Abhi ye, it's like I'm going to play a cricket match and saying that I don't want to bat well. I just want to score 100, right? Now, we don't know, right? That depends on how things will play out, what kind of deliveries are being bowled to you, what time of the day do you play. It's the same stuff. Don't obsess about that. But at the end of the day, main goal that all of us have is to pass A. And maybe if you're passing, we might as well end up in a rank, right? Your preparation is going to reflect. So don't obsess about it. It's the same strategy for you, same strategy for everyone else.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hi, sir. This is Zui here from Mumbai.
Hi, Joey.
I had a small doubt regarding like when we're solving sums, etc. I'm very much used to scribbling down things on a piece of paper and writing. So, are we allowed to stationery
Yes.
inside?
Yeah, no. Don't take any stationery with you. Good you asked. I forgot to mention. They give you rough paper and pencil. Pad bhi dete hain kya? Pad nahi, but they give you a piece of paper and pencil. Do they give you multiple papers? No. At a time, they give you 1 or 2. Correct. Now, yes. So now remember this. They'll give you a rough paper. They'll give you a pencil. Okay. You can scribble, do whatever. आपको drawing करना है कर लो.
Okay.
The only thing is that if that paper is completely used up, now you need a new one. If you ask them, they'll ask you to give the last one back. Okay. Now you would say, okay, fine. What's the problem with that? The problem is I came across one candidate. I don't know why this guy did that, but he was writing his solution on that paper instead of, selecting option on the panel, right, on the screen. And then he just gave that paper back because he forgot. At least that's what he told me. And that's why he said I didn't pass. I was like, okay, fine. You're a smart guy. But we don't want to be smart like him. So just make sure that you're selecting options in the computer panel, and then we are okay.
Yes.
All right. Next, who wants to go? Can you turn off your camera, Manav?
Hi, Utkarsh. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
hi, Sumit. Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So, my name is Sumit, and I just have a small question regarding the FinTree learning material. Will I have access to those even after I give my exam? Because I've missed out on few topics, and I really want to understand those.
No, depending on what was your subscription. If your account is supposed to expire on Feb, I think after your exams, the account will expire automatically.
Okay, but still, I can keep the juice notes and all, right? But I
Choose
mean,
whatever material you've downloaded is for you to use. As long as you're not sharing it, you can use it.
okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all.
Sure. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else wants to go? Yeah, Namish is asking a great question. By the way, Namish, hope you're doing well. Yapna wala Namish? What is the best thing to do if we happen to finish exam before time? Should we try to review all the questions? Great thing. See, what you do is when you're solving the question paper, let's assume that you come across question number 27. Okay, who is this? Ghosh, right? Manav, can you turn off your camera, please? If you're solving, let's say, question number 27, you're not very confident with the answer, Namish. What you do is you do a soft selection, you select option A, but you make sure you flag that question. Once your entire paper is over, then you can go and review all the flagged questions, right? So that you get some extra time to think and deal with them. And then once you've reviewed all the flagged questions, if you want, you can review the whole paper. If you want, you can exit early. It's entirely up to you. Generally, what mistake I have done, or at least in my experience, I remember is I would not review ethics questions. Okay, because unless I have flagged them, then it's a different story. The thing with ethics is I've generally noticed your first instinct turns out to be the correct answer. If you overthink on a ethics question, a lot of times it goes wrong. At least for me, it works that way. So for ethics, I will avoid a review. First time, I'll be a little extra careful when I'm solving it. But for other questions, I'm okay. I can just go and review them as many times as I want.
So I had a question.
Sure.
Hi, sir. I had a question about derivatives. I'm really struggling with derivatives at the moment. I haven't done a lot of it, very honestly. But the other subjects I am good with. I'm solving the questions. I'm getting most of them correct. I did one mock as well, but I didn't solve any of the derivatives questions in it. I just wanted to test how are the questions framed. So yeah, I have my exam on 28th. How can I go on about it? I know it's a big ask, but can I do something about it? Yeah.
Okay. What's your name?
Jay.
Jai. Okay. 20th you said, right? आज क्या date है? 16?
Yes.
So
16th.
we have
Yes.
17, 18, 19, 3 days left. I think it's fine. We have 3 days. What's the weight of derivatives now? 8 to 12. So let's take an average of 10. So you're looking at 18 questions on an average
I
on the
saw
exam.
6 to 9. I don't know.
Okay. Let's say about 15 questions, right? On an average. Okay. Again, in my understanding, okay, based on what I've heard from candidates is, you're looking at about 50 to 60% questions, which are fairly simple, right? Very, very simple, obvious questions. And about 10% questions, which are tough, remaining questions, moderate. So what you can do is, you can probably spend one day on watching the entire crash course of derivatives. My guess is derivative crash course should be about 3-4 hours. Then you can spend additional 3 to 4 hours on going through blue boxes and end of the chapter videos. So let's say you allocate one entire day In that 1 day allocation, you can, out of 15, assuming 15 questions, you probably be able to get about 7 to 8 right. So that's still a good return on the time that you're investing, right? It's still doable. Spend one entire day, derivative crash course, derivative end of the chapter question videos, and derivative blue box videos. That should do the job for you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, you mentioned 50 to 60% of the questions to be easy or obvious. Is that respect to only derivatives or the entire exam?
Everything.
Okay.
I'm telling you this, you will come across questions on the exam where you'd feel, is this really that simple or is there some trick, right? Because what we've been doing for last 6 months or 8 months is we've been practicing only tough questions in the class. All your weekly tests were relatively challenging, your mocks were challenging, but some of the actual exams could be really simple. Okay, now for example, I'm not telling you this is an exam question, I'm just saying, for example, a question as simple as if you are bullish, which of the following option positions will you build? Long put, short put, short call. Short put, right? Because we know short put is bullish. Remember that flow chart? Bullish, bearish, bearish, bullish. Now, this is an obvious question. You would read this, you would feel like, oh, is there a trick here or is that simple? Or something as simple as NPV or IRR, what's superior? NPV. So there will be some questions on the exam like this. And
Okay,
these
sir.
questions are low-hanging fruits. I'm expecting all of you would get them right.
Sir, how to spend the day earlier of the exam?
Sorry, can you come back again?
How do we spend the day before the exam? So, how do we allocate the day?
It depends on you. If I were to take exam this time around, maybe let's assume that I'm required to take CFA exams again. Maybe what I would do is a day before the exam, I will write one mock, probably the easiest one. Probably I'll rewrite mock I've already written where I scored well, right? So that I feel good, then I'll go and take the exams. But one thing I will definitely not do, which I've been guilty of doing this, is studying late in the night day before the exam. Okay, and tell you why. If you notice this CFA exam question pattern, right? It is testing you on two things basically. One is your knowledge about what finance is, what derivative is, what AI is. You know this formula, that formula. But second, there's also that logical reasoning element to it, right? A leads to B, therefore B leads to C, C leads to D, connecting the dots type of thing. Logical reasoning is almost like a CAT exam, right? There is that logical element, which means your brain needs to operate at the peak efficiency. And when do our brains work the best? When it's rested well. So therefore, I generally say that any studies you do a day before the exam after 7 p.m. is basically negative studies. The more you study, the less you're going to score, right? So now 7 p.m. it's a hard cutoff, after which you don't touch your books at all. Now it's easier said than done, because today you would say, ye sahi keh raha hai, I should stop studying at 7. But when 7 p.m. will come, day before the exam, now you would feel that, oh, I still haven't revised this. I still haven't revised that, right? That will happen to you. Your brain will play games. So what to do? The best thing to do, if you can schedule what you're going to do, that's going to completely distract you from studies now itself. Okay, now maybe for some of you that could be, let's say, going for a movie. Okay, and you would feel like, what kind of who goes for a movie a day before the exam? But see, it's very important that you distract and sleep well, so that next day you're operating at your peak efficiency. So for some of you, it could be going for a movie. For some of you, it could be going for a run, listen to a music, meet your friends, do whatever that works for you, right? You have to figure out what works for you, but completely distract, eat, sleep, try to get good sleep, so that next day you're again back to the back to the peak performance. And yeah, if you want, you can revise a little bit of ethics a day before.
So just wanted to ask this. We have a mail from that ProCam test center confirmation, right? So do we need to take a printout of that and carry it? Or
No,
how is it?
no, you don't need that. I think you don't even need those COVID certification anymore, right? Yeah, that. So you don't need just passport and your calculator and some food. That's it. Nothing else is required. क्या चीज? अच्छा वो फोन पे दिखा सकता है क्या? हाँ. So take a screenshot, maybe keep it in your phone or keep an email. You can show it to them there. Okay.
Sir?
What else? Yes, Mohit.
Oh, yes, sir. Actually, I am in the FinTree mock. I am getting 60% average. In the portal, CFA portal, I am getting 50%.
Okay.
So what should I do? In ethics, I am getting a least percentage in the both of it. Before I
Well,
gave a mock,
what do you expect
sorry,
me to tell you? What should I do? As in, how should you study for next
I
2
should
3 days?
defer it or not?
Okay. Wow. See, you're putting me on a spot. I don't know how to answer that question. It actually, because you're the best judge of how well you prepared. Okay, those of you sitting on the thought of whether I should defer it or not. How many? Sorry, I think my throat is completely messed up for the last 2 weeks. How many of you have had that thought of deferring? Can you give me a me on the chat box? How many of you felt that maybe I should defer? Give me a me on the chat box if you had that thought. Throat is. Okay, that's good. I don't see anything. Chat box band hai kya? Good. There's no one who's had that thought. I'll give you some interesting data points. Okay. Number one, writing the exam means opening yourself to possibility of failing. Correct? Because I take the exam, I fail, things can go wrong, and humans don't like that feeling, right? Feeling of, that's how our brains are wired, isn't it? So we try to avoid those situations. So even if that thought has come to some of you, I think you just wash it away. A very interesting data point is if I take all the level 1 candidates and divide them into 2 buckets, the ones who are taking the exam on the scheduled attempt versus second, who have deferred exam once and now taking it now. The second pool actually will have a substantially lower passing percentage than the first pool, right? And it is not talking about preparation, it's talking about mindset, that I got closer to the exam, I avoided facing it, I deferred, I went to the next attempt. So I think mock score is probably not a good indicator of whether you should defer or not, right? A good indicator of deciding whether you should defer or not is your honest level of preparation. If you feel that I have not covered this entire syllabus even once, maybe 2-3 subjects are still pending, I have not practiced any questions whatsoever, then maybe you should defer, right? Maybe because clearly your level of preparation is not there. But if you're someone who's finished your curriculum completely, you've taken a few mocks, you might have scored low, that's okay. You've worked on your mistakes, I don't see any reason why you should defer. Right? That's the roughly thought process. 60, 70 is all right. I think if you're scoring above 50, you're okay. I wouldn't give too much of importance to mock scores at the moment.
Okay. In the before mocks, I started first mock, I got 40%. And even though I start to grow and touch to 60, I still have a thought to ask you.
So when you're analyzing on your mistakes, Mohit, are you coming across too many concepts that you did not know, or
No,
you knew the concept but you did not understand the question?
I knew the questions. Oh, sorry, I knew the concept but did not understand the questions.
So you just need to practice. I think that's the solution. So use next 2-3 days, whatever time is left, just practice questions left and right. I think you would be okay.
Okay. Or what I should do for the ethics? I completed portal questions. I am getting 80% in the portal, and in
That's
the
good.
mocks I am confused in the question. Oh,
Uh,
30% I am having in the mock.
that's okay. See, mocks are a small sample of the whole subset. So don't give too much of importance to mocks. Uh, just keep on practicing more questions. Try those 60, 70 end of the chapter questions we have in CFA curriculum. I think that should be good enough.
Okay. One more question, one last. I know I am overthinking too much, but I am giving an exam. What if computer got error and something happened with computer? What I
If
should do on that moment?
something goes,
Happen
no,
with
it's a good
computer.
question. It has happened to other candidates in the past. If something goes wrong with your computer, go to the proctor, show them that it has gone wrong, and take something from them in writing that there was an issue with your computer during the exam. What CFA Institute has done in cases like these in the past is they will retake your exam, most probably in the same cycle again. Okay. Uh, there was one case that I had heard. I think one of our students used to call me, but I don't remember. Uh, her exam, similar thing. She got her results, it were negative, but she said there were issues in the computer. I think they have CCTV cameras in each of the exam hall, right? So they will verify if something has gone wrong. But I think the smartest thing to do, go to Proctor, show them this has gone wrong, and ask them to give you something in writing. If they tell you that no, I cannot, ask them to get their supervisor there, right? Because these proctors are again not very well trained in some cases. So ask to get them a supervisor and have a conversation with supervisor. That should be all right.
Sir, I
Thank you,
had
sir.
a question where now in the CFA mock that I gave or in FinTree seventh mock, there are questions that I'm still looking at for the first time. So do I go back and fix those questions, or is it okay to let them go? For example, to evaluate hedge fund positions, internal valuation models are most likely used for. Options are level 1, level 2, and level 3 assets. Now, I don't know anything about this. So do I let this go, or do I go back and fix this?
No, I think just read the solution. It should be level 3 now in this case, right? Level 3, Anna?
Yes, level 3. Yes.
That's an IFRS taxonomy, right? Level 1 is easily available, similar, right? That's the thing. So what do you need to do, right? Fairly simple. Just read the solution. Remember it's level 3 and move on. Or just Google, just find out what's a level 1 asset, level 2 asset, level 3 asset, done. Move to next question.
Okay.
So one question, during the exam, right? Any particular advice like avoiding actions, scratching your head or some kind of thing we need to avoid? Fidgeting with your beard, maybe your mustache. That might give a negative impression to the proctor there.
I mean, just don't be a table fan like this. Otherwise, I think you would be okay. Do not sneak into other people's computers. I think that what you're saying is valid. I used to tell this to people not to even look at anyone else. Back in the day, when exams were physical in India, there were paper pencil exams. They used to happen in some hotels here in Pune and Hayat. Mumbai they used to do in Thakur College. Now, I think those days, I don't know what their training system was to the proctors. These proctors used to be typically school teachers. I think there was some agency which used to run. Now, they were told that if you find some candidate looking here, there, you're supposed to write a report, okay, and send it. Now, I don't know if they were incentivized to find candidates because their attitude used to be thoda bhi idhar dekh liya, or if I just sneak a little bit, they would write that in their report, right? That used to be a big mess back in the day. I remember I had a student in level 3, probably one of my all-time favorite students ever. He's in London now. It happened, this is the smartest guy, right? He finished his level 3 exam in like 1 hour. It was a 3-hour paper. Now he was getting bored there. And he is the type of personality he couldn't sit at one place. It was like he always bouncing. And then on the day of results, I think a few days before results, he got this notice. I'm sorry. But online, there's nothing to worry. I have not heard any professional misconduct case since the time exams have gone online. I think because now there are CCTVs, it's much more easier to establish. So कुछ नहीं है, मतलब दाढ़ी मूछ के साथ जो करना है करो. I don't think anyone is stopping you. As long as you're not troubling others. Okay. What else? Any other questions? Do we have anything on YouTube coming in now? Yep. So I'll start taking questions on YouTube now. If there's any audience attending on YouTube, you can ask me questions now. Malpra, good evening. I completed crash course and this incident too. Yeah, I think I've spoken about this in the crash course. You're right. I have choose notes of 2024. Any changes in 2025? Yeah, we've made plenty of changes this season. All right, I'm looking at some more questions. Tanvi is asking, after completing ethics, I feel sleepy. Me too. That's good, no? The day before the exam, you need to sleep, just do ethics. Can we get earplugs on the exam? I think you can. I think have you read that email? They've told you what you can take, what you cannot. Earplugs are okay to take. Just order them on Amazon today or just go and buy simple earplugs. Don't buy any electronic stuff. Just simple rubber earplugs. Harsh, I'm completing my mock in just 3 hours, scoring 65. What to do? I'm bothered and confused about it. Just take it slow. There's a technique I have for you. I call that technique as, and by the way, for all of you, it's called RTFQ. You know what that is? What? Read the कितना प्यार से बोला है, read the F question. That's right. Just start reading by all of you, by the way, okay? See, we tend to do this a lot of times when we are practicing questions or writing the test, right? We don't read the whole question. We read part of it, and in our head we think, oh, ye question ye hai. And a lot of times the question is something else, but you think it's something else. So just make sure you're reading the question extremely carefully when you're taking the test, right? So be extremely diligent about it. You have an option, by the way, now to highlight as well. You can highlight. So when you're reading, it's okay to highlight word by word all the important pieces. Use that, but make sure you're reading the question properly. Okay. Shailesh, how months preparation needed to do well in level 2? Arey wow, I love that confidence, Tarang. Tarang is asking how many months of preparation for level 2. He's already thinking of level 2. I will discuss about that right after your exams, not now. Why I feel confident in ethics is something wrong. Do you feel confident in ethics? No, do you? Then that's okay then. I think if you spend enough time and practice questions, I think there's no why not, right? I mean, you put in the time. Dad lovers. Sir, I will give my exam in August. Completed 5 subjects. Not now, Dad lovers. This is purely for Feb exams. We have exams in 2 days now. Sushant, I don't have access to FinTree mock, CFA mock. I scored 60%. What should I do? Work on your mistakes, practice more questions. You should be all right. Shyam is asking, can we go out of the exam institution for coffee in the break? I don't know. Is it allowed? Can you come down? Yeah, and you have to walk the whole distance. So depending on where you're taking the exam, if there's a coffee shop nearby, what I've heard from candidates is the time to walk to the nearest place is almost 15-20 minutes. So 20 minutes one way is you'll not be able to come back in time. Just carry a flask and carry your coffee with yourself. That's simple. Just go and buy a flask if you don't have it. And if you really a coffee addict and you don't have anything to take, just carry that coffee powder or pee lena. Red Bull will work, right? And you just need caffeine, so figure out how you get that caffeine. Afif is asking, can we use the restroom a couple of times between the session? What do you plan? I tend to drink a lot of water, so leads to this. I think you can. You can. There's no limit on. Huh? The proctor will come with you, right? Yeah. So sure, why not? Maybe you can bond with the proctor in those breaks. Yeah, you can. You can go to washrooms as many times as you want. There is a tutorial on how the exam page is going to look like. I got an email from, yes. In fact, there's a sample tutorial on how your question paper will look like on Prometric website. Go and spend 10 minutes on this. It's pretty simple. I've covered this in some videos in the past. You can just do it yourself. Vedant, I have an exam on 20. I will enjoy 19th in Shiv Jayanti rally as per your suggestion. Sure, have fun. Sparsh, my mock score is 65. What should I do? Work on your mistakes, practice more questions, you'd be okay. Ishan, sir, Pune Center for exam, any suggestion or inputs? You've been to Pune Center. I've not been to this center. You've been there, right? You guys? Any suggestion for Pune Center? Which college is that? Vishwakarma. Is it a VIT or is it VIIT? VIIT. They're different than VIT, right? So
So the thing is, they have a engineering college as well, and they have this arts and commerce in the same campus.
So is it the same college, or what should I put in Google Map? Vishwakarma Institute of Arts and College in Pune. Do they have parking there?
Yes.
Do they have coffee shop there? They have. So can I pick up a coffee and go to the exam before exam starts?
They have a small canteen there.
Small canteen. Okay. Can I get a good coffee? No. Apna Nescafe wala coffee. Can I get something to eat there? Vada pav and all that stuff. Okay. So there you go. We have all the information. Do they have good air conditioning there? AC problem is there. Okay. Do they have good chairs there? Good. What's the color of the wall? Green? Off-white? Fantastic. So there you go. Who was that? Okay, whoever that we have, I think I forgot who this guy was. Ishan, we have all the answers. Nehal, my exam is 22nd. I'm able to achieve good percentage in ethics, around 56. Okay, I'm not able to achieve. Sometime 19%. What should I do? Should I go for See, I cannot answer deferral questions honestly, because how do I know what you've done in the last 6 months based on 1 or 2 numbers, right? It's very difficult for me to judge. As I said, how to take that decision? Very simple. Have I finished complete syllabus or not? If the answer is no, if you've left more than 15 to 20% of your syllabus, I don't think it's easy for you to pass. Okay, you have to complete the syllabus. Have I practiced enough questions? Right, at least 5-6 mocks, or at least 3-4 mocks, learning ecosystem. If you've completed your syllabus, you practice enough mocks, I think you can take the exam. Sparsh is asking, how is Xavier Institute Mahim Center? Does anyone know Bombay Mahim Center? No. If anyone knows, please answer on the chat box, Google or Zoom, either. Shyam, there's a small nuance thing I'm still forgetting now. I have 1 day for the exam. Shyam, you're going to see, all of us forget, right? I mean, even at the time of, mera video stuck ho gaya kya nahi? Even when I'm walking into the exam hall, I would still feel like, acha ye derivative wala formula bhul gaya main. That feeling is going to be there. It's okay. It's okay to not remember everything. A lot of times the question itself will give you, see, remember, it's a multiple choice question exam. I mean, how easy that exam could be, right? Think about it. Let's say you take the exam, you go back home, and let's assume your mother or whoever, right? Your dad is cooking for you or your mom is cooking for you, and they ask you, hey, what would you like to eat? I feel like making something nice for you. Okay. Now suddenly it's a difficult question, a lot of cognitive load, because now you have to think, what would I like to eat? But if they tell you that, hey, I'm thinking I'll cook A, B, C, is it not an easier decision? You would say, I like A more, I don't like B, right? Now, it's a multiple choice question exam. There are going to be a lot of hints in the question itself. So you don't need to remember everything, as long as you are able to figure out that, A is definitely not the answer. Maybe it's B or C, but I think C is more likely. Select C, that's it. By the way, one trick, I forgot to mention this earlier. Let's think of worst case scenario. Okay, a worst case scenario, you enter the exam hall and suddenly you become like that dude in Bollywood movie, right? Who forgets, tattoo bana ke rakhta hai khud apna, Gajni, right? So you enter the exam hall and suddenly you have that Gajni attack where you forget everything. And now you don't have a choice but to make guesses. Okay. And this is only for those questions where you've no idea what they're talking about. It's Chinese and Latin to you. What would you do in that case? Should I selectively go with option A for some and B for some or C for some? Okay. So my suggestion to you would be only for those questions where you have absolutely no idea, like you don't know what they're talking about. In that case, should I select A or B or C? Tell me what. What should I select? A? Okay. So here's my selection criteria. It's very simple. What I will do is I will understand the simple law of probability that I have a 33.33% chance, right? But this 33.33% chance is based on law of large numbers, which means my sample size. See, it's like this. I tell you that I toss a coin, probability of getting heads is how much? 50%. So does it mean that if I throw the coin 6 times, I will exactly get 3 heads, 3 tails? No. Possible that maybe all 6 might become tail, right? So how does that probability work? It works only when my sample size is large enough, correct? So if I have any questions where I have no clue, absolutely no clue, I can't even guess, my simple strategy would be that I will select any of the 3 randomly, but that random selection will remain consistent for all those category of questions. So for example, if I have to make a random guess, Jai Mata Di option C, because I have no idea, then all other Jai Mata Di questions, my selection will always be option C. So that my I'm giving at least some chance to that law of large numbers to play out. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Yes or no? So if you have to make random guesses, then stick to one option. If it's C, it's C. If you do that, and imagine if you do that for the whole paper, all one, kitne 180 hai na, 180 questions, then there is a high probability that 1/3 of them you get right. But what if you select A for some, B for some, C for some? There's a possibility you would just end up getting 20% score, right? So just keep that thing in mind. स्मिता कह रही है आज माता के मंदिर जाएंगे, श्योर? Okay, let's take some more. Ahmed Zain, do that and cons probability is done. 1 out of 93 modules done, 92 to go. Okay. I don't know what that means, but sure. Maybe that was a joke.
Sir, I have one question on Zoom.
Yes. Who's that?
Vishwesh.
Yes, Vishwesh.
Sir, on 15th of last month when you took Cake Mahina Mein Kya Karne Ka Hai, you mentioned ki LES do once vertically, do once horizontally. I was able to do only once vertically along with the 8 mocks. So now, next 3-4 days, now that I'm done with the syllabus, only 1 mock to go. Do I do the LES again horizontally or leave it and just focus on revising?
No, now what you do is you make sure you revise well in the remaining time through the juice notes, because it will just going to make you feel good. And if you find time, then practice questions that you got wrong when you're solving LES for the first time. Okay, so that way you kind of focusing a little bit more on areas that you struggled in the past. So you kind of know your mistake patterns. You don't repeat them on the exam. But but only if you get time. Otherwise, if you just revise, that's good enough.
Okay, thank you.
Are we done? Can we stretch while taking the पूछ लो अभी online पूछ रहे हैं कुछ भी पूछ लो आप है ना Shravan is asking, can we stretch while taking the exam? Sure, stretch as much as you like. Just don't do a yoga session there. Wanted, how to figure out rate is continuously compounded, discrete, I mean determine. Generally on the exam, it would be mentioned, especially on the CFA exam, they will tell you compounding frequency. If nothing is mentioned, discrete per annum, annual compounding, that's the logic. And remember, if it's MRR, then compounding frequency is maturity matched, which means a 30-day MRR, compounding frequency would be rate into 30 by 360, right? That's my rate. If it's a 90-day MRR, rate into 90 by 360. Shyam is asking, you told few questions which are like cat. We have to think through the question. Any help to get thode question right? I mean, just logical reasoning. If you know the concept, I think you should be able to connect dots. Something like, let me make something simple, right? So imagine you just did some trade and you made profit. You did something, you did some sales and you made profit. Now, what's the impact on debt equity ratio? So now, what is the logical reasoning? The concept is if I make profit, profit should increase equity, right? And then the logical reasoning part is equity is in the denominator of debt to equity ratio. So ratio will go down. That's it. But these kind of questions, I think you should be able to handle them easily. Okay, that's it. I think we're done. Again, my closing remarks before I let you all go. See, days like these, events like these will come all your life. Okay, it's a part of the process. Imagine if we did not have this anxiety, this pressure, life will actually become boring. It's good to have targets like these where you have that insane level of junoon. Your ops is that I have to do something and I'm enjoying this. So you guys should consider yourself lucky that you're getting to live this. This is the best way to live life, right? You have worked really, really hard last few months. For some of you, 6 months, 9 months. We've had some candidates who prepared for a year. You deserve to pass. Okay, the things will always play out if your process is good. So as long as you have believed that I have worked, I could have done better, right? There are always those opportunities. I could have done better, but whatever I did my best to the best of my skills, to the best of my circumstances. जितना मेरे शरीर में जान था उतना मैंने मेहनत किया है और अगले 2 दिन भी करूँगा, है ना? I will put in efforts for next 2 days. I will make sure that whatever best I can do in the remaining time, I will try to do it. I've followed the process, results will come, right? Have that belief, have that confidence when you go into the exam hall. Do a little bit of this to yourself, right? Tell yourself that I am, if not me, who else, right? I deserve to be a CFA charter holder. I mean, that's what CFA Institute would want. They would want hardworking, diligent, right, people like you to become CFA charter holder. So you're there. You've taken the right step. Believe that it's going to play out well. Believe that you're going to pass. And with that belief, spend the next 2-3 days. And before I let you go, give me a large, loud I pass on the chat box. And this time when you type it in, believe it, right? Believe that you've got your results. It says congratulations, and probably you're texting me or you're calling me and you're saying exactly the same words. This will happen. So with this, wish you all the best. Since you followed the process for me, you're already winners, right? In my head, like I think you came to me, you said, I've done this, I've done this. In my head, you're already a winner. So you've done good. All of you are going to pass. Wish you guys all the best. And after the exams, I think we are doing a meetup here. When is that? 24th. 24th, 5 p.m. we are going to have a meetup. Is it only physical or online as well, right? But it's not YouTube. It's not YouTube. Okay. It's for FinTree students. Okay. So on 24th, 5 p.m. we will be having a meetup. फिर उस वक्त थोड़े मजे करेंगे. We'll have some discussion and on your exam experiences, not questions. All right. So thank you very much. All the best again. And then get in touch with me. Let me know how it goes.
Thank you, sir. See you in Level 2.
Thank you.
I like how you said it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I pass.
Thank you. You will pass. All right. Take
So
care.
we'll
guys.
meet you in level 2.
Yes. Yes. I'm sure you will.